Good morning, all. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Great, great.
Yes, I do.
I
Yeah.
see some heads nodding. Thanks for all for attending. Welcome to the 2025 Connect the Blocks Flint Neighborhood Summit. We all know this is the kickoff to our neighborhood small grant season. I'll stop talking now and I'll yield the floor. Dan, I guess I'll yield the floor to you. You can go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks to everybody. It's really great to see so many people engaged in this. Thanks to Damon and Karma, of course, who I worked with for a long time before I joined the Community Foundation. You know, today's March 1st. It's the beginning of my third month with the Community Foundation, and I am just so excited to be, number one, to be back home, to be a part of this organization. But as I'm sure some of you know, because I've worked with you over the years, I'm particularly enthusiastic about the neighborhood work that we do, and particularly this neighborhood small grants program. I've spent a good deal of my last two careers, both in Congress and before when I was at the Center for Community Progress, and even when I was doing some work in county government, and particularly with the land bank. Neighborhoods have been at the center of my focus. And so I look at this program, I look at the work that the Neighborhood Small Grants Program means and delivers for our neighborhoods. And it's particularly impressive how a relatively modest amount of money can be really transformative in a neighborhood. And so I love this program, and I'm grateful for my colleagues at the Community Foundation for the work that they've done. I'm grateful to our partners in philanthropy that support this work, but most of all, I'm grateful for all the faces and names that I see on this call, people who are committed to their community and committed to their neighborhood and willing to step up and do the hard work of organizing these efforts and making sure they're implemented in a way that improves the lives of the people who live in the communities that we are all so connected to. So to Karma, to Damon, to Sue, to the whole team at the Community Foundation, but most especially to all our neighborhood partners, thanks for being willing to be a part of this. I'm looking forward, not just to the process moving forward, but for each and every one of you, I want to invite you to invite us to come out and see the work you're doing. And I'm particularly inviting myself to come out and see the work that you're doing when these grants are delivered and you actually begin to roll up your sleeves and do the work. I'm excited about this and particularly proud of our Community Foundation team for the work that they do in this particular area. So with that, thank you all for being here. Damon, I guess I'll throw it back to you or maybe to Karma, but take it away.
Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that. I also know that we have our Vice President of Community Impact on the call, Sue Peters. I didn't know if, Sue, you wanted to share a few words to the group.
Well, I think we're all learning that it's hard to follow Dan, right, when he speaks. So I think he has said it all. Again, I'll just repeat that you're some of my, don't tell anyone, but some of my most favorite grantees. We really look for you to the ideas and knowing what needs to be done in the neighborhoods. But not only that, you're willing, as Dan said, to really dig in and make it happen. And that's really what we need in Flint always. Also, a quick shout out to Lynn. She's, as you all know, the OG of this program, right? So we are not without her wisdom and guidance as well. We have a great team and we're looking forward to seeing what you all want to get done. So thank you, Dan. Thanks to the staff. But again, you are all the most important folks here. So, all right, Damon, throwing it back to you.
I just saw Karma come off
right. She's ready
as well. So Karma, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Flint Neighborhood Summit, sponsored by the Community Foundation Greater Flint's Neighborhood Small Grants Committee. I am Karma Lewis, chair of the committee, and I also serve as a member of the Community Foundation's Board of Trustees. We are delighted to have such a large attendance today. And with a large number of people online, we also have about 30 people here at the library joining us. Please stay on mute. If you are using your phone, press *6 to mute yourself. Enter any questions you may have in the chat function. And please note that we are being recorded. and adjust your settings accordingly. Our neighborhood groups and partners created many opportunities for safe gatherings, neighborhood events, and good old-fashioned fun. And we love the creativity this past year. The committee reviewed 73 applications. We approved 54 grants and funded over $280,000 in grant awards in 2024. Yay! 2025, we look forward to awarding even more grants that focus on neighborhood improvements. Our hope today is that you learn something new as we navigate through this 2-hour program. At the end of this summit, you will be prepared to move forward applying for neighborhood small grants, and you will have information you need to follow up. Now for our touchstones. Be 100% present and presuming welcome. Set aside the usual distractions of things undone from yesterday and things to do tomorrow. Bring all of yourself to this work. We all learn most in spaces that welcome us, and we also welcome others to this space. Listen deeply. Listen intently to what is said. Listen to the feelings beneath the words. To listen another soul into life, into a condition of disclosure and discovery may be almost the greatest service that any human ever performs for another. Always by invitation. It is never share or die. You'll be invited to share in pairs, small groups, and in the large group. The invitation is exactly that. You determine to the extent to which you want to participate in our discussions and activities. No fixing. Each of us is here to discover our own inner truth, to listen to our own inner teacher, to take our own inner journey. We are not here to set someone straight or to help right another's wrongs, to fix or correct what we perceive as being broken. Suspend judgment. Set aside your judgment by creating a safe space between judgments and reactions. We can listen to the other more fully and to ourselves, making our perspectives and decisions and actions more informed. Identify assumptions. Our assumptions usually invisible to us, yet they undergird our worldview and our decisions and actions. By identifying our assumptions, we can then set them aside and open our viewpoints to greater possibilities. Speak your truth. Say what's in your heart, trusting that your voice will be heard and your contributions respected. Your truth may be different from, even the opposite of what another has said. Speak your truth by not be debating with or correcting or interpreting what another has said. Own your own truth by speaking only for yourself using I statements. Maintain confidentiality. Create a safe space by respecting the confidential nature and content of discussions held here. What is said here remains here. When things get difficult, turn to wonder. If you find yourself disagreeing with another, becoming judgmental, shutting down in defense, try turning to wonder. I wonder what brought her to this place. I wonder what my reaction teaches me. And I wonder what he's feeling right now. Embrace possibilities and be bold. There are no bad ideas, and do not be afraid to try new things. Damon?
Thank you, Karma. I appreciate you for doing that. Again, I want to thank you also for serving and chairing that the Neighborhood Small Grants Advisory Committee. I appreciate your work and your help with everything that we do. All right, so for our agenda today, we're going to have we typically have our partnership panel that helps share some resources that all of you can use, whether you're executing projects or just active in your community. We'll have Bob Brown and Donna Ulrich from Neighborhoods Without Borders, Jordan Brown from SIPI, and then finally Dr. Kenyatta Dotson. We'll also go over what's new for 2025. We've got some calendar events to discuss. We'll talk about the grant guidelines and the application process and the application deadline. There's a small needs assessment that we'd like to conduct to get feedback from you all. And then we'll break off into groups so folks can talk amongst themselves and then come back, report out what we've talked about. So we'll just be able to get into groups of small groups in rooms and discuss resources, discuss a challenge, discuss a win, just share with one another, then come back and let the spokesperson and we'll hear everyone report out. But to begin with, I'll yield the floor now to Bob Brown and Donna Ulrich from Neighborhoods Without Borders.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having us. We're from Neighborhoods Without Borders, which is, Bob's going to have to fill in the whole history, but it's a charming history, I think. A group of people who lost some funding, and one of them, Tendaji Ganges, which I think many of you will remember fondly, said we don't need money to work together. And so Neighborhoods Without Borders has continued to work on providing opportunities for people to come together and learn about each other, cross those unwritten, undefined borders that we interpret only from what we see of another person's skin color, clothing, etc., religion, etc. And so the last couple of years, we have been a little dormant, and we've been working hard at how we better serve the community, what we can do to make a stronger impact, I guess. And so we have come up with, and our mission now is equity. And I'll get to how big our plan is in a moment. So what we're looking at is the general idea of equity as in fairness and justice, as distinguished from equality, making sure that everyone has the same, or that the unintentional barriers are gone, that we're not just providing equal, let me start over, that we don't all start from the same place, and that we listen to the needs of the people and we serve what they need for equity in the community. And so we walk away from that idea of giving everybody the same thing and then calling it equal. I like to just talk, and then when I'm thrown with a list of things I don't want to read, it always confuses me, or it messes with my brain. Anyway, our examples here are all examples that you've heard of before. Important issues like education, making sure our schools get funded and our schools get the kinds of quality educational tools and materials and teacher pay as every other school district in the state. Let's not get started on that one. Let's get started on that one. Offering accessible spaces for disabled people, tailoring healthcare treatment, protecting it now more than ever. Looking at workplace processes, and Bob's going to talk about what we have done so far on that. And then just ensuring that everybody has those basic needs: housing, clean air, water, food, safety. And so that's what equity means to us. Okay, so I heard Karma say something about being bold, and I think Bob's not going to argue with me when I say I dream really big. And so as we were kibitzing one day, I said, Flint should be the model city for the nation on equity. We should not leave any stone unturned. We should have the idea of equity always in front of the people, and we should work in this community to become that model of what equity is supposed to be. And by the time we were done, we were not at the universe, or I'm sorry, not just the nation. I wanted to be the model for the galaxy. So there you go. These are our values. We really believe in not telling people what they want, what they need, but rather making sure that this community is involved. And that's what Neighbors Without Borders is. We are not a nonprofit. We are simply a grassroots group of people who come together collectively across interests and cultures and whatever to address misunderstandings and work toward this idea of equality. And so we want to directly involve everyone. We want to make sure that our environment's inclusive. We certainly want transparency. We definitely want not only to look or identify solutions, but find the action steps to get that done. And certainly we want to support and engage our community in that process. Go ahead, Bob. Okay. And so some of our efforts to date that you may recall would be our Tendaji Talks monthly. We invited people from different communities around the city to talk about their cultures or their faiths or their history, whatever. And with the idea that our residents, our citizens, our neighbors could come together and listen to what they were saying and learn about them. And so we think of ourselves as a convener, trying to bring people together and trying to be part of a network so that we're recognized as a resource and a partner. And with that in mind, we have recreated our website, and that's exactly how we hope to use the website to identify organizations that are seeking people who want to work on the issue of equity, who are committed to it, and are looking for ways that they can take their own assets and put them to work. So we recognize assets as being our own resources, whether that's writing a check or bringing our favorite tools to build a house or rounding up our network to get them to work on this issue. And so that's what we're hoping to do with the website, is to help people, particularly white people, understand that this is our responsibility to solve. This is not the responsibility of people of color. We put them in this situation. We got to get them out of this situation. If we've promised that all of our citizens are equal under the law, then they better be equal under the law. Anyway, so some of our things that we have done and we continue to do from time to time: free hugs. We stand out on the corner at various events in the community and we just give out free hugs to anybody who wants them. And I'm only 26, but I will tell you that I get an awful lot of hugs from people who say, "You remind me of your grandma." And then we also do opening doors is our newest one. And that's what you'll see when you go out to our website. We stole the lyric of a James Brown song, "Open the doors, you open the doors, I'll go through it myself." So we stole that language, and that's what we're using as our theme for this whole thing. Ask an American, we did in schools and in other community environments where people of different cultures who are American, surprise, were kind enough to answer the questions that other people had about their culture, about their religion, whatever. Again, another safe way to talk about these issues that people wonder about, sometimes fear because they don't have the information, etc. And we certainly continue. Bob has a lot of training in facilitating learning opportunities, so we continue to do that.
So, an Opening Doors initiative, and Donna has talked about this, is our newest initiative, and it's all around self-evaluation tools, self-assessment tools on equity, and most of us think that we're real equitable in how we go about our work, but the question becomes, it's just like white folks saying, "Oh, I'm not racist." when we all are racist because of the culture that we've grown up in. The same way with white power and privilege, it gives some of us an unfair advantage. So these tools, my colleagues and myself at Michigan State University, my day job, took about 6 months to develop these tools with the help of grad students. We did a deep dive into the literature to understand elements of equity. There's lots of reasons why understanding and working on equity is so important. This is all on our website. I'm not going to go over each and every one of these, but this gives you a general idea. What's really important to look at is here's an idea around the individual level assessment. And these are self-perception assessments. And these are the categories that are at the individual level. How culturally competent are you in your practice? How well do you understand cultural beliefs of diverse communities that you work with? How well do you understand and work with the intersectionality of complex forms of oppression and privilege as they intersect race and gender, ability, and give you a real quick example on the ability one. Most of you know I walk with crutches. So many buildings at Michigan State are really huge, and the elevators are at the ends of the building, not near where I need to have them be. So they're not very accessible to me. The individual assessment talks about inclusive communication. Can you communicate in a way that's accessible and respectable to different audience? Can you think in systems? How well are you doing in that? How well are you working with collaboration that's not self-interested, but has a higher purpose to it? The assessment reviews advocacy and policy change along with capacity building and data analysis and evaluation. But by looking at these different elements and rating yourself through a series of questions, you can begin to understand how well do you think your own practice is? How equitable is it? And the same thing is at the organizational level and the community level. What's your perceptions around that? So that's a real quick version of this. Our contact information was at the end of this presentation, if I pushed it too quick, but we can give it to Damon and he can send it out to everybody if that be your pleasure. But Damon, I return it back over to you for any questions or next steps.
And I'll just quickly say all of that is on our website. You can access all of the assessments on our website, download them for your use. And we have a beautiful bumper sticker that looks great on my car and says equity, understanding, respect. It will look beautiful on your cars too.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bob and Donna. I appreciate you both. I did have a question, but you just closed out by answering that. You did say that presentation will be available on your website, and Bob, you'll send it to me. So if anyone wants that, just reach out. I'll make sure you all can get that. Thanks again, Bob and Donna. I appreciate you both. Real quick, I want to take a really quick detour and I want to acknowledge our friends who are in the Flint Public Library right now. I do know that Flint Neighborhoods United had a meeting today, and I really appreciate the participation and the willingness to adjust your schedule and your agenda to be here with us today. So I didn't want to pass by without acknowledging you all there. I think we've got upwards of 30 people in the library. Thank you for participating. Thank you for changing your agenda and rocking with us today. With that, I'll move on to our next participant. That's going to be Jordan Brown from SIPI. I'll yield the floor.
Good morning, everyone. To kick us off, I would like to call an audible here and ask for a little bit of a humanity touch base. So before I talk at you for about 10 to 20 minutes that they have so graciously allotted me, I was hoping everyone could take a moment, and I know this might be a little bit harder for our folks at the library, but to throw a couple emojis or words into the chat box of describe your ideal Flint or your ideal Flint neighborhood for me. So I want to be able to see what your goals are for our community at large in the chat box. So if you can take a minute while I kind of kick off here, I'd love to be able to see what your goals are for our community, and maybe I will tailor what I speak about to address that. So to formally introduce myself, my name is Jordan Brown. I am the connector of dots at SIPI. For those of you who don't know SIPI, that stands for Social Impact Philanthropy and Investment. We are an organization that is dedicated to empowering nonprofits and small businesses to achieve sustainable growth and meaningful community impact. So our tagline is very simple, and it is community over competition. My favorite thing about my role in our neighborhood, in our community, is that I have the privilege of working with really interesting people that are much smarter, innovative, and impactful than I am. And that involves the partners that we serve. And I see a lot of the folks that we get to work with on this call today. So hello, and maybe some potential partners to work with going forward. Our mission here, we actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, which is exciting for us as a small business here in Flint. It was born from a desire to help bridge critical gaps that often hinder passionate leaders from realizing their visions. We pride ourselves on being experts in philanthropy frameworks, providing innovative solutions, and being opportunity seekers. Last year, we were able to bring in, and I say we as in our organizations and our partners, with just a little bit of help from SIPI, $10 million for our groups. And that ranged from different grant opportunities and revenue generators. And that's something we're really proud of. We focus on a trust-based relationship with our partners and our community to best serve these nonprofit groups and expand unheard voices. Our goal is to work with organizations from a place of we, where we are an extension of your team, not just some folks that pop in and leave you to do the work. We like tackling these things together. So with all that said, very simply, we're nonprofit consultants, but we're not consultants in the traditional framework. You're not going to see us come rolling in blazers and New Balances like our traditional consultants. We're here to really work alongside our partners. So that being said, I'm going to talk a little bit about our core services, and then we'll jump into how we collaborate at large with our community, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how we could move forward together. So that being said, core services, some of the things that we can help nonprofits and some of our small business partners are dealing with organizational structure and capacity building. So anytime that we need to scale and expand or even legitimize our program, our organization, or maybe just a really cool idea that you have that you want to take to the next level. We help with leadership and staff development, cultivating skills and competencies, which sounds like I have a potential partner in the group that went ahead of me that I'm looking forward to discussing. We help with 501c3 establishment, as well as compliance and meeting facilitation. Oftentimes people have a big issue that they need to tackle, and maybe they just want a little extra support from a leadership level to engage with their board of directors or navigate a larger problem, and we can be there to assist with that. We also help with vision and strategy. So strategic planning, oftentimes you think of strategic plans, you think of this big document that sits on your bookshelf and just kind of collects dust because it's too overwhelming to get started. The process alone was exhausting. The idea of implementing it seems unreasonable. Our goal is to make that document really digestible into like a 3 to 5 page document over the next 18 months. How can we tackle some of the things really in front of us so that we are able to be fluid enough to jump and adjust to the needs of the community? We help with board development and retreats, so strengthening board governance structures, strengthening communication, and just doing board development. Oftentimes, we find that as organizations scale, they have an issue with getting their boards to the level that also needs to scale. And so that's where we can come in and help navigate some of those kind of hiccups along the way of growth. We can also help with succession planning. So oftentimes this comes up in our community a lot. And unfortunately, we have learned this a very sad and hard way, that when our really great leaders and our iconic leaders of our community are no longer with us due to leaving or other circumstances, we might not have all of the things in place to grow and keep going and take the baton and really live out that mission. And so we're here to help with those strategies as well. Additional skill building things, mentorship and grant writing. We do run a mentorship program, and it's been really wonderful and really joyful to be a part of that. Grant writing support is a big one. That seems to be a huge need for most of our community organizations, whether it be nonprofits or small businesses, and we are able to help with that. Financial support guidance, that's another big piece. As you scale and you've gotten a really cool idea and you've done really great things, but now we need to get our finances in the books, make sure that they're all clean and that we can go and apply for grants through some of these wonderful funders that we have in town, and just make sure that you're the level that you're going to be asked to be at to receive that funding. Social media strategy, crowdfunding, fundraising, all of those fun skill building things we are here for, and we provide these both on a one-on-one relationship, but in some other programs I'm going to talk about shortly. Program development is another place where we can help. If you have a really great program, but maybe need to be able to pivot to new locations or expand, or just make sure that you have all the things you need to be compliant, such as insurance, and making sure that every location that you're at is included in that insurance. There's a lot of moving pieces in programmatic development, and so being able to have another organization to help you support that, and also make sure we're checking boxes that you might not even know need to be checked. So throughout our collaborative initiative, so we are able to work with our local funders in a few different ways. So most recently, we have been collaborating with the Community Foundation of Greater Flint and assisting their grantees achieve their grant goals, which has been wonderful, as well as Ruth Mott Foundation supports our workshops and cohorts that you might see from us. We do about 14 workshops throughout the year, and these workshops are mostly skill-based. We do grant writing, QuickBooks, fundraising, as well as things that are a little bit more on the self-care level. So we have a self-care for leader workshop. We have an assess yourself workshop, which functions more from like an HR perspective, knowing more about yourself and your style and how to translate that over to hiring and making sure that you're making the best hiring choices as you move forward to expand and scale your organization. So we're super blessed to be able to work with the Ruth Mott and provide those free of cost, as well as CS Mott does have us oversee the Flint entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is more of the small business piece that I've kind of mentioned a few times. So we are the neutral party coordinator that is able to help you navigate all of the wonderful business supports that exists in the city of Flint, which is over 30 partners. So as you are looking or have a small business or want to formalize your small business or side hustle, I and my team would be so happy to help you navigate that process. So I will try to wrap us up here, but I just have to say we're really proud to be able to work with nonprofits and small businesses in our community. We serve over 120 nonprofits a year through our workshops, through our cohorts, and we have about 30 some direct client relationships that we work with on a weekly, daily basis. We're really proud of the success of our groups, and we really value that shared success. Annual revenue increase for our groups is around 111%, which is such a fun, lucky number. And we take a lot of joy in the fact that our collaborative efforts touch over 30,000 individuals a year. So as you know, I can say I've worked with a lot of great people, and over the last 10 years, our team has worked with many of you, or many people that you probably know. And we're just really excited to continue to support our Flint community and neighborhood. Just to say, to hit it right home, you know, our philosophy really is a trust-based relationship, and we don't see ourselves from that consultant point of view. We're collaborators that can walk alongside organizations to help achieve your goal together. You know, oftentimes I probably say it 5 times a week. You're not expected to know everything, and it's impossible to know everything. So it's our organization's role and mission, both personal and professional, to be able to be the group that you can lean on to help fill those skill gaps or those knowledge gaps. And there are often times where maybe we don't know off the cuff, but we're going to spend a lot of time researching to find the best practices for you. So looking ahead, you know, I really encourage everyone to reach out. I love to just connect with folks, even if we're not going to maybe work together right now. I love to be able to connect people to the right people that they need to move forward. We're excited to continue to empower organizations, drive economic development, and foster that community engagement to really partner and move forward. So I would be happy to take any questions, but I will end with my 2 words for our community, and that would be cohesive and gentle. That would be my ideal Flint, is a place where we can finally be those things. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I really appreciate you participating today. One thing that stood out, and I think it aligns with the entire spirit of this event, is you said collaboration, not consultants. I really hope that resonates with everyone. That's the purpose of this event, and that's the purpose of the Neighborhood Small Grants Program, collaboration. So again, thanks for participating. I don't think we have any questions. I didn't see anything in the chat. So with that being said, we'll move on to our next presenter, and that is Dr. Kenyatta Dotson.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here with you today on behalf of Dr. Mona, Luke Schaefer, and the MSU PPHI RX Kids team. Thank you for having us in this space. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the RX Kids program, which hopefully most of you know about RX Kids at this point. If you don't, please go to rxkids.org so that you can learn more information and find the most up-to-date news. But up to this point, RX Kids is the absolute first of its kind opportunity to give cash prescriptions, actual cash dollars, to pregnant mothers and their children in Flint. So it's specific to the Flint area. Moms have to live in the city of Flint in order to take advantage of this opportunity. Every pregnant mom, newborn in the city of Flint, regardless of income, is eligible. And the amount that is given is $1,500 during mid-pregnancy, $500 a month, for about a total of roughly $7,500. And this money it goes absolutely directly to the moms, and there's no strings attached. It truly is a prescription, just like when you go to the doctor's office, a prescription for hope, health, and opportunity. Hope, health, and opportunity. All righty. The next thing I want to share with you all is I just want to let you know that how the RX Kids program was designed. It was designed with parents' involvement, listening to the voice of the people. Before we started this program, moms came together, roughly 15 to 20 moms come together. You see a picture here of some of the moms that have come together. They review the survey analysis, the evaluations that go forth. They give their feedback about how the program is going. They give personal insight about their lived experiences and their stories, which further helps to shape how we move forward with the RX Kids program. Here you'll see that every pregnant person, newborn, is in a certain place in their life as it relates to poverty for the most part, and living within the city of Flint. Again, there is absolutely no income requirement. So as many of you may or may not know, within the city of Flint, in the city of Flint, we live in an impoverished area. Therefore, everyone who lives in that particular area within Flint will be eligible for the RS Kids program as long as they're having a baby within that particular year and as long as they live within the city of Flint. Some of the unconditional designs that make up RS Kids is, again, there are absolutely no strings attached and there's no requirements outside of living in Flint and being a pregnant mom. Some of the benefit protections that you will see is the RX Kids, no strings attached cash allowance. It's a gift. So by it being a gift and not income, it does not go against some of the things moms may be receiving, like MDHHS, cash assistant or food assistant benefits that they have, or food benefits. RS Kids does not impact the eligibility of SNAP or of WIC, of Medicaid, child care subsidy, housing benefits that are being received. The only thing we have not been able to work through as of yet, we're still trying though, is SSI benefits, but we continue to work actively to try to get that to be a part of that non-eligibility requirement, such as SNAP, WIC, MDHHS, resources, and others. Give Directly, who is our partner who provides the cash allowances, they also provide benefit as it relates to counseling as well. So we know that poverty is something that directly impacts the lives of families. And as you see in one of the later slides, you'll see that the majority of individuals, moms that are a partner and a part of the RS Kids program, you'll see where their annual income falls. But we know that poverty is a toxic stressor. We know that it provides many of the things that you see on this slide, such as chronic stress, our infant mortality rate, asthma, injuries, abuse, neglect. All of these things are directly correlated and associated with poverty. Some of the negative impacts of poverty is development of language, self-regulation, and school readiness, regulation of the immune system, and also brain development. And many of us live through poverty, which brings about stress every single day. This is the life we've lived through our lives, so we can understand some of these things directly. We also know that when a mom is pregnant and during childbirth, it's one of the most difficult, stressful times of baby and mom's life. The family income oftentimes drops very sharply at the birth of a child. And that's why we wanted to have this no strings attached cash allowances provided through the RS Kids program to moms from the time they are pregnant throughout the first year of baby's life. All right, so a little bit of the science as it relates to child allowances. The expanded child tax credit in 2021 provided great insight as to how, when unconditional cash allowances are provided to family, how it helps the family, how it strengthens the family. We also found that families spend money, and we found that we are finding this out also through the RS Kids program, that families are spending money on food, on housing utilities, on car expenses, on child enrichment, on just being able to do things that families haven't traditionally been able to do, like going out to eat from time to time, just every so often, being able to do something fun, go bowling, go to the movies, to have a little bit of less strain as it relates to financial independence. One of the huge successes of the child poverty, it created an all-time low of 5% and reduced food insecurity and financial hardship. It also improved health for children and parents, better school performance, and reduced the incidence of child abuse. So these are some of the things that not only did the expanded child tax credit identify, but we're also identifying through the RS Kids program. A few of the other things that have increased and that we find increases when families can be infused with cash transfers, cash allowances, is breastfeeding, child vaccines, educational attainment, self-related health, parent expenditures on children, time learning, healthy food consumption, and some of the things we saw decrease, which is so important because we know that low birth rates definitely exist, particularly in families of color and also between marginalized groups. So we saw a decrease in low birth rate, premature births, poor childhood, cognitive development, psych symptoms, substance use, and also criminal behavior. Just to give you a little information about the RX Kids enrollment, online at rxkids.com, which go to rxkids.org instead now. So it's rxkids.org. It only takes about 10 minutes for mom to do the online application. Give Directly is our partner who helps out significantly as it relates to mom support, getting through the application process. We have 2 Give Directly staff on sites. It says, well, we have 1 on site, but we have 2 that completely works within the program. There's seamless enrollment for participant and back-end invoicing to TANF, and this is relative to Medicaid moms and babies and philanthropy. And you can enroll from pregnancy to 6 months. Now, if a mom gets to 6 months, they will not qualify for the program. So if you know moms, if you see people who are pregnant and you know them, or you know without a shadow of a doubt they're pregnant, then make sure they know about the RX Kids program, because once they get to the 6-month time frame, they have a high risk of not qualifying for the program. And there's no retroactive transfers. So please share the word, share the word, share the word. A few other things are here. Parent consent needed for moms 18 years and under. So we've had some moms who are like 16, 17. Parent consent is needed for that. And if a mom has twins or triplets, guess what? They still qualify for the program. It's just double or it's just triple. So that does not disqualify them because they've had multiple pregnancies. A few other things, just framing a narrative. We've heard people say, well, how are we supposed to care for each other? And that's across the board, from community, local, state, federal partners. We've heard people say, well, how are we supposed to care for one another? So we reimagine a social contract. And the social contract is simply, I care about you. I see you. I'm going to help you to the best of my ability. We've learned that we have to care for one another. We have to uplift and help one another. Raising kids is hard for everyone. Being that village, it's not an easy task. Oftentimes it is difficult, but we want our partners, we want our moms, our families to know we walk alongside of you. Society trusts. We trust you to make your own decisions. So we're not giving this cash allowance and then saying, okay, and here are the stipulations, or this is how you need to use it. No, we provide these dollars and we say, you use it the way you feel you need to use it for yourself, your babies, and your family. We believe in dignity and agency. We want people to know that they are loved and that they deserve all of this and more. And then we celebrate the joy of moms and babies. Some of the ways we've celebrated some of the moms up to this point is we've had a baby parade. We did a Valentine's Day bash where they could take cute pictures with love that exemplify love and heart and hope with their kids and their family. We had a Mother's Day event. We had our signature kickoff at the very beginning. So we've done and continue to do multiple events that brings the moms, families, community, our partners together to celebrate. I don't think we celebrate enough as a people. And then the next slide is, I just wanted you all to have this because we created a whole playlist for moms. But you know what? You don't just have to be a first time or early on mom like me, being in my 50s with 3 kids. I still listen to the mommy playlist. So feel free to utilize the QR code and check out the playlist specifically designed for RX Kids. I think you'll enjoy it. The next slide is just want to give you a few numbers, and you can find this at rxkids.org. But to date, as of February 2025, we have given out $6,392,500 in no strings attached cash allowances. And 1,608 families have participated up to this point, and 1,262 kiddos have been born as RX Kids babies. So just wanted to give you those numbers. I think that's something to be very excited about. There has been a 96 to 100% uptake rate. We have connected with just about every mom that was pregnant, has been pregnant in the city of Flint. And I think that's really good. That goes to say that community is sharing the word. Moms, families are hearing about the program, and things are going well up to this point. There's been a 92% enrollment from a prenatal standpoint. 50% of families have a household income. This is what I wanted to share with you all. So 50%, let me see, okay, here it is. 52% of moms and families enrolled in the RX Kids program has an annual income of $10,000, only $10,000. And if we go up a little bit further, 17% brings in roughly 10 to 20,000. So that goes to show you that when we talk about poverty and the stressors that poverty brings, many of these moms' families are only making $10,000 annually. So good news. RX Kids will not just stop in the city of Flint. We're moving on. We're spreading our branches. We're going a little bit further. So we're going to be in Milwaukee. We're coming to Kalamazoo. We're coming to Kalamazoo. So we're coming to Kalamazoo. This has only been able to happen with the partnership of our state leaders, legislative leaders, foundations, nonprofit, moms, families, dads, community. We have been working to identify communities of need to further expand on this great work that we're doing through the RX Kids program. Let me make sure I'm not leaving anything out. 200 moms have already seamlessly enrolled, roughly 200 moms, and lives are truly forever being changed. Just to give you a little bit more information, 88% of parents say that RX Kids has helped them make ends meet and feel more secure in their finances. 86% of participants who currently are pregnant went to at least one prenatal care appointment in the past 3 months, and 96% of participants with infants went to at least one pediatric visit in the past 3 months. Lastly, 84% of participants say that the money from RX Kids has helped them become more confident as parents. And one of the things we found is that moms have also said that daycare expenses is really, really, really high. So they utilize a significant amount of their funds towards childcare as well. I'm going to drop some links in the chat so that you all can have the website. You can have some of our latest findings. You can have information on the expansion to Kalamazoo, and then you can have links from like MLive and some other places, so you can have all the information you need to know more about the RX Kids program. Thank you, everyone, for this time.
Thank you, Kenyatta. I really appreciate you doing this. When you do drop those links in the chat, there was a question that Karma had in there. What if the child is in the custody of grandparents or someone else? So if you want to just address that in the chat, I'm sure there are some others were probably wondering about that too.
Okay, I meant to share that too. It's a really quick response. The money follows the baby or the babies. So if baby is born and then goes into custody of grandma or dad, then the money follows the child.
Got it. Thank you so much once again. Really progressive program, really informative update. I'm anxious to see what type of data points come out from that and how this really works out over time. So thanks again for sharing with us. I'm going to go a little bit off script again. I just want to acknowledge someone else. And, what was built into the framework of that program was equity. And just speaking of equity, I just want everyone to look at your screen and wave and say hi to our Director of Equity and Community Engagement and my OG, Lynn Williams. Everybody say hi to Lynn. That's all. If you know, you know, and I'm sure all of us in here know what time it is with Lynn. So, hey, Lynn.
I'm getting you, David. Hi, everybody. So glad to see everybody.
Moving along, one of the things that we like to do, there's a section now where we're going to talk about what's new for 2025. We're going to go over the grant guidelines and eligibility boundaries, that sort of thing. That we like to take feedback and apply that into how we execute the program. So what we're going to do right now is take about 10 minutes or so, probably about 2 songs, to complete a needs assessment Zoom poll. We'll take this and kind of build these responses into how we execute the program going into 26. I'm going to need a little help, so I think my tech support is going to run that Zoom poll now. I'm not sure how we're going to work this out for those of you who are in the library. I'm sure there are like 34 of you in there. So I don't know if you all wanted to, write these answers down, give them to Karma, and then, I can collect them that way. But let's just take some time. I'll go off screen here. And like I said, about 2 songs or so. Let's try to knock this needs assessment out. Thanks. Moving on, thank you all for participating. Again, we share these results and communicate with our funders to make our neighborhood small grants program and our grant making more effective. So I do appreciate you all for participating. I'd like to move into, you'll have another chance. I can send it to you, Monica, so you'll have another chance to complete that. I'd like to move on to what's new for 2025. There are a few dates that we would need to keep in mind. The NSGP application is live. The deadline to submit your applications is March 17th. You'll have 2 ways to submit. You can either complete that by hand, or you can go through our portal on the website, cfgf.org, and you can submit your application there. Either of them are available. If you like a hard copy application, you can pick one up here at the office. They'll be available down in the lobby. And then even after they're completed, you'll be able to drop them off here at the lobby as well. But remember, March 17th is the date that those applications are due. That's a Monday, and the deadline will be 6 p.m. that Monday. With that said, I'd also like to just acknowledge the fact that we've been doing this virtually for the past 3 years. COVID kind of pushed us into this corner. And although it has given us some new efficiencies in terms of the grants that we're able to make, some budget allocations, we do recognize the importance of us meeting and convening together in person. So whether that be fall 25 or spring 26, just know that we're going to get together in person. I'll take some feedback. We'll talk to the committee and make a decision whether we'll do it at the end of this grant making cycle or at the beginning of next year's in 2026. But either way, we're going to be in person at some point over the next year. That being said, I'll try to be as brief as possible because I know you all are familiar with some of these guidelines, but I still just wanted to share them, and that is the grant guidelines for 2025. Give me just 1 second here. I'm going to share my screen. And I hope you all can see my screen here. Yes? So our grant guidelines for 2025. We are aware of the 3 different levels: the traditional mini grants up to $1,000, the next level and arts mini grants up to $5,000, and that transformational grant award of up to $25,000. The platforms for which we evaluate, or the committee evaluates the proposals, are strengthening neighborhood groups and organizations, creating safe environments, improving neighborhood conditions, creating opportunities for neighbors to connect to each other and to resources in neighborhood arts programs, healing racism, right? We see who was eligible to apply: block clubs, neighborhood associations that have a DBA and a bank account, faith-based organizations, grassroots, community-based organizations, and obviously our nonprofit organizations. I did want to spend some time here on the distinctions between the levels, especially in terms of who was eligible to apply. The good thing about those traditional mini grants, that is up to $1,000, a formal 501c3 status is not required. So you don't have to be a formal nonprofit organization. You can be a neighborhood group, a block club, a grassroots organization that is seeking some funding for whatever projects that you may have, which fall within that $1,000 threshold. In terms of the transformation, the next level mini grants, that's up to $5,000. You do need a 501c3 status to apply for and receive that award. If you do not have that status, you can also work with a fiscal sponsor or a fiduciary who can serve in that capacity for you. So in other words, that secondary group will vouch for you and work with you to build capacity, handle your receipting, complete your reporting, and receive that award. So even if you don't have that 501c3 status, if you're working with a group who does, and they would serve in that capacity for you, you would be eligible for that $5,000 award. And then, of course, the same works for the transformational grant. The same rules apply. 501c3 charitable nonprofits and other formally recognized tax-exempt entities, such as faith-based institutions, municipalities, schools, and hospitals, who are partnering with residents to improve the community. So I wanted to just spend some time there with the eligibility requirements. We know the different tiers and what our focus is there. But again, more importantly, those are the eligibility requirements. That's when you do or don't need a 501c3 designation. And March 17th is our date or our deadline to submit your applications. That being said, once the applications are received, there's a process where the committee, the advisory committee, reviews those. And that may take several meetings to arrive at decisions and allocations. That being said, the awards typically go out early June after Memorial Day. I'll use that as a benchmark. So keep that in mind when you're submitting, and that timeline is how long it takes to make those decisions and get the awards out to community. Any questions on any of that? If you have any, you can leave them in the chat, and I will make sure that I go ahead, Dominique. Did you have a question?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to know, when it's time to report, how do we go by reporting our grants when it's time for the deadline to report? Can you talk a little bit about that, what that looks like?
Yeah, well, the report is always, the report form is going to be available on the website. And again, I have hard copies also, so you can come and pick those up here. When you need to submit your report, those reports are due the 31st of October. So we try to get those reports in the month of November before the holiday season. When you submit those reports, you can just come and drop it off, or you can submit a digital copy to reports@cfgf.org. All of this will be shared with you when you receive your award as well. It'll be in your award packet. But just to answer your question directly, it's going to be early November when those reports are due, and you'll have two mechanisms to submit them. One, you can just bring it down by hand and give it to me, or you can do it digitally through email, scan your report, and send it to reports@cfgf.org.
Thank you.
Got you. Yeah, and again, if anyone has any other questions, I mean, I'll drop my email in the chat. And yeah, you can just get at me directly that way. We like to move with interest to time, and we will also, we like to start on time and end on time. What we like to do now is move into our small groups. What we're going to do is allow everyone to kind of interact with one another for the next 25 minutes or so, but we'll break off into small groups. You can discuss a resource, a project, a challenge that you may have had. We'll come back after that 25 minutes, and whoever you have elected within your group, they can share out. I'm assuming we've got everyone back in the main room now. I do know that we had 6 different breakout rooms, and it is 11:41, which means we got 19 minutes. So with 6 different rooms, there should be 6 different elected officials to present what happened in each of your rooms. I hope you got a chance to speak and share with one another. 6 presenters, it's 11:42, we got 18 minutes, maybe 2 minutes apiece, and that will give us time to get out of here on time. So whoever wants to go first, raise your hand, and let's cook.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan. We were in breakout room number 3. We talked about our successes, challenges, and our experiences from last year to this year. What we majority talked about was raising awareness for our programs and making connections so we can have more information and collaborate in between the groups. We also talked about finding resources. So not just having partnerships, but finding resources to which that we could fully fund our groups and better fund our groups and communicate within equity within ourselves.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. That was obviously a truncated version because there was a lot of conversation going on in that room. Thank you for jumping off the porch first. Who's next? Who's next? Please don't make me call on people. Who's next?
I'll go. Can you
Thanks,
hear me?
Julie. Thanks, Julie.
Okay.
Knock it out.
Yeah, there were only a couple of us in the room, but we had a great conversation about connecting our organizations and agencies for how to better the community. And it's really about, going to all kinds of meetings all the time. You never know what you're going to get out of it, but you're going to make connections. And I just made a couple of really good connections, and I think we all benefited from just sharing what we do and constantly trying to support each other and how we can support the community by connecting what we all do together. I know that's very generic, but that's really what happened.
No, not generic at all. I mean, that is the spirit of Connect the Blocks, and that some of that is lost by us meeting virtually. So it's important, and it resonates that you're saying that because that's why I made that announcement earlier. We're going to get back together in person because some of that connectivity we lose through this virtual space. So thanks for doing that. I appreciate you for reporting out, Julie. Who's next? Sherry Hayden, let's go.
Hey, how are you? Our group had some nonprofits and an LLC, and the woman with the LLC thought that it didn't have anything to do, but we had everything to do with it because we're all trying to make Flint a better place. And one of the biggest shared problems that came up was the issues of liability insurance. And I'm going to have to call you and talk with you about that because that has emerged with several of our nonprofits dealing with event planning in Flint. And there's been some changes that the Community Foundation is going to want to be aware of. So this was it was very valuable. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks for raising that up. That insurance liability rider, it has become more of an issue here like recently. So that's something we definitely would need to talk about. I appreciate you for bringing that up. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. That is 3. We've got 3 more. Who's next? Who's next?
No, can you hear me?
The library crew.
Yes, the library, the baddest crew. Okay, we had several, Dominique Strong, she shared what USMO does. And very valuable information, and I'm gonna call to her to give like a 30-second description.
Okay, so we just talked about some of the needs of USMO, which was transportation, a barrier that some of our youth is facing. And I had other community builders chime in to speak to how we could potentially fill that gap by collaborating, which was something I put in a group chat when asked that question. What was something, a need? And it's a lot of collaborations to fill in these gaps that our community is lacking, not reinventing the wheel, but strengthening the wheel.
Okay, and then we have Robert McCollum from Michigan, who had a very good question, and I'm gonna pass it on to you.
So I brought into the room that there is an organization called G that started on Facebook, so you can find it through there, and it's kind of also started to pivot towards email. And it's Genesee Educators Network of Informal Educators. And the plan is, the goal is every kid in Genesee County to get an experience with all the wonderful things around it. No more best kept secrets, right? And can we work the logistics out across all of this to where that goes all the way through? And then working on connecting U of M Flint CIT faculty and student researchers to build an open source, nobody owns it, we all own it, enterprise resource planning platform to organize and work out the logistics. One of the next steps is going to be also to get together a transportation committee, right? So if we're going to figure out how to get all those kids from all the schools and across our whole county to those schools, we got to make sure that that very common downfall of the transportation budget, if it gets to the things, that we sort that logistics as well.
Thank you, thank you. That's great information. And we also have the Genesee County Land Bank Authority that have vacant lots for adoption, lease, as well as to purchase. So if anyone is interested, my email address is clewis@thelandbank.org. We have lots of vacant land throughout the city of Flint and Genesee County that needs to be in your hands. Next and last, but definitely not least, we have the Flint Community Water Lab.
Yep, so the Flint Community Lab, we teach high school and college age youth how to analyze water. We also, one of the biggest focuses is testing Flint residents' water at no cost to them. One of the barriers that we had an opportunity to discuss is one, just people knowing that the water lab exists. And that we are here, it's an independent water source, testing water for Flint residents, and that we offer paid internships to youth. We also are moving into fixture replacement, so we have been able to test about 4,000 taps in the city. We know that's not all the taps that are located in the city, but now we are moving into fixture replacement to help kind of offset the fact that even after people have had their pipes replaced, their homes are still testing high for lead, and so we're just trying to get to the bottom of what could be the issue and help provide clean water while preparing the next generation to stand on the front lines and do policy advocacy and also help provide clean water.
Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Damon.
All right, that covers it. Is that all 6 groups? Did we give everyone a chance to speak?
Well, Group 6, we talked about several, and my name is Mark Evans from the Southside Neighborhood Coalition. We brought up safety, and we mentioned something, the community emergency response team and how Flint needs to get prepared for safety and increase our awareness as well as our preparedness. Monica from the Southside City of Hope talked about educational programs and the need for more services. We had a young man talk about theatric performances at McCree and how to increase that to also address awareness issues in Flint. 100K Idea talked about business programming, and I think she was trying to give us ideas on how it can work in the nonprofit area. And then we had a representative from the city talking about housing and housing issues. And if any one of these members would like to add on to what I just said, please do. We're trying to do this in the next 30 seconds or less. So thank you for the opportunity to report.
Well, we also had John White talking about war stories that he's going to be working on for Juneteenth and how to get his registration going very well as it relates to that. And I'm a part of that committee as well. And so we're going to be doing some things related to Juneteenth every day of the month in coming up here in June. So John White also has some input on that as well.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Monica. Mr. Mark, Southside is strong in here. We appreciate you. Were there anyone else? Was there anyone else with anything to share? Have I missed anyone, or did we all get a chance to hear from the 6 groups?
Oh, yeah, this is John White. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir. Mr. John, go ahead.
Do you have any idea of when we'll find out if we get the grant or not?
Yeah, typically we try to get those awards out early June, like right after Memorial Day weekend. we've had some internal organizational restructuring, so that may impact decision-making time. But again, the deadline is March 17th. Committee will meet during the months of April and May, and we'll try to get those awards out after Memorial Day weekend, early June.
Oh, okay, thanks.
That said, anything else? Anyone else we missed? Anyone else with something to share? We're 7 minutes up against it, and it looks like we're going to get out of here on time. All right, if not, I will take that as a no. I think we've gotten everyone's input. I really appreciate you all participating today and sharing, especially that group we have over there in the library. I really appreciate you all adjusting your schedule and agenda. I appreciate everyone for participating. I look forward to an exciting round of applications and good projects taking place this summer. I also want to make sure that we thank our funding partners, the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation and the Ruth Mott Foundation, and most importantly, all of you with all of the work that you do in making our city strong. So with that said, I thank you all for participating. Again, I look forward to seeing your projects. We'll be in touch. Thank you.